This is just the word. What you want us to do. This is the changes. I don't, we've never done it that way. This is my learning curve. I like the hair curl like that.
Thank you. Governmental political subdivisions of municipalities, so
And I had to have it.
you decide
So
on
it's
the
not like
policy,
naturally, like,
agree if you
No,
change
it wasn't before.
Yeah.
So I had to have, so I have to really work at it because in the summer it's busy and when my hairdresser.
We have some files that I don't have to
Yeah, it's
update
crazy.
because they've already been, like literally you skipped 2 or 3 updates to them.
Oh, no. You're fine. I mean, I'm worth it. Get in the middle, so.
You have anybody signed up? We for
What time signed up?
This is in it, is it?
This one. Yeah, yeah, she did it when she was supposed to.
Oh, dang it.
Left my bag.
She's talking, she's.
Hey, remind me, I left my bag in there.
Did you? Okay.
Natalie, are you just public at the end?
I believe so. We'll see how long it lasts.
And then Dave will be at the end too. Dave, you'll be at the end too, correct?
It doesn't matter, that's just something I wanted to let you guys know. I know I've already touched on it.
Huh?
So if it's not an action item, then I would say it's public comment at the end.
Yeah.
There wouldn't really
Yeah, I
be
didn't see
another
anything
place
on
for
there.
it.
What's this?
Oh, what is it?
You got it, Patty?
Yeah, just trying to get everything closed here. Okay, welcome everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order at 6:15. If everybody could stand for the pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Moving on to item C, the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I have a question before we do that. Tyson, Deborah, is this all the updated stuff on the print off of the one that I got pulled at 2 o'clock on the computer?
This one
Print off
that's
as the
in your
latest one?
folder
Okay.
is accurate.
All the policies on that side.
And then, Mike, can we get everything added we needed to on this that we discussed prior?
Yes.
I was just gonna make a motion to add.
Yeah, IT's on there.
Okay, perfect. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Item 2, administrator reports. Ms. Funston.
Yes. Okay, lots of good things going on at Lincoln. All of our positions were filled this year.
Yay!
So that was
Great.
great. We have a music teacher for the first time in it sounds like a couple years. I hired a 2nd grade teacher, 6th grade teacher, a new special ed teacher. So that's been really, really great just to have a full staff. Our back to school night went really well. We did it the night before the first day, and we had around 80% of families in attendance, which was great. And then over the summer, I had 2 teams of teachers that I worked with. So one team kind of helped to revamp our PBIS, our 4-star expectations, and all of our procedures. So we've been kind of working on those these first few weeks, and are going to continue that throughout the school year. And then the second group worked on a school improvement plan. So we're going to use that in that group plan to kind of focus our data team meetings throughout the year. So that's going to be really exciting for us. And then NOEA is starting next week, so we'll start to get some good data from that. Dyslexia testing will be here in the next few weeks as well. So we have a lot of good things going on, and it's just really positive there for the first, 5 days we've been there. So so we're all excited for the school year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Klein?
Oh, wait a second.
Okay. At Lake Village, we start the year, set out some expectations for the first few weeks of school, calling them the big three. It's teaching school-wide expectations, our pause expectations, teaching classroom procedures, and finally connecting and engaging, building relationships with kids. Teachers obviously are going to start introducing and reviewing content, but really the focus needs to be on those three things. I think the more they invest in that up front, the better it'll pay off down the road. As Sarah mentioned, NWEA window opens next week and goes through September 5th, and the dyslexia screener window for K2 is August 25th through September 12th. We've noticed an increase, not surprisingly, in breakfasts. Kids taking breakfast. We usually average anywhere between 10 or 12 kids. We're up in the mid-40s now, but I think we're going to continue messaging to our families to make sure they understand that this is open to all people. The principal team back in May started working on a professional development plan for this school year that incorporates the early releases and the learning days. Topics are including everything from MTSS, love and logic, using data to inform instruction, our Savas reading series that we adopted, putting them into the curriculum maps, iPad training, and Savas MyView training next week is coming up soon too. And finally, I'm requiring all classroom teachers to make at least one positive contact for every student in their classroom before October 1st. They'll be submitting a contact log to me at that time so that I know that they made those contacts. The contacts can be positive notes that go home. I'm encouraging more personal contacts like phone calls or in person, but we'll take any kind of contact that we can get. And that's all for Lake Village.
Thank you.
Hello. Well, the high school and junior high is off to a good start. We have our open house tomorrow night at 5 to 6:30 for all the parents and guardians to come in, meet the teachers, see how the classes are going, what the expectations are there. It's been great seeing the kids back in the hallways, back in the cafeteria, been out in the hallway a lot more. I have my little cart that I decided to try this year, and it's actually kind of working out really well. Getting to see the students and having better conversations with some of them. One of the areas that we're going to focus on this year is attendance and making sure that we have that in compliance with everything. Working with ways to have additional people help run the reports, make sure that we're staying on top of them daily. Our school and reports haven't quite been working out with us lately. Usually by October, it's taking about 2 to 3 days just to go through all of them because we have to take each one and divide it by 7. It's not just like you insert it once and then it's done. We have the 7 period. So trying to still figure out a logistical way on how that can run smoother. But we've already been calling parents. We unfortunately do have some students who haven't enrolled or arrived to school yet. So tomorrow the certified letters are coming out, and then if we still haven't heard anything, we're going to start doing some home visits and things like that with that. We leave messages and unfortunately don't always hear something back with that. But it's still part of our job. It's still something we're dealing with every day, and trying to make sure, because that's the only way they're going to learn, obviously, when they're at school. We also revamped our Spartan time, trying to make it more structured, and so the goal is to get MTSS started going through there, helping especially high school students with like SAT prep, PSAT prep, having that where they can still go to their clubs. That part is key with the Spartan time, is allowing where our location is. They can't just walk home. Like, so if they stay after school, the logistics and transportation becomes a pain. And so we have it built into the day, allows those kids to attend as well. And on Tuesday, I was in a conference. There is the new school accountability framework that's coming down. It has to be law by December 31st. It's open right now for public comment. They're supposed to send out a video of one of the recordings, the Indiana School Principal Association. When I have that, I'll send that out as well, especially to my staff. We can see kind of what they're expecting, because it has to be back to A to F for all the schools as well. So that's something we're going to be looking at as well.
Thank you.
Well, I echo what everyone has said. We think we've had a really successful start to the school year. As you know, we've rolled out all new student devices with iPads. We've had some hiccups there. We were seeking some feedback today. Today was our first early release day as well, getting some feedback on, what went well, what didn't go so well, so we can make sure next year we roll out well. But all in all, strong start to the school year, as well as staffed as I can find in recent memory, and then bringing back all of our school administrators was huge. Continuity is key in any organization, but in school districts especially. So, again, though, we do ask patience as, at least for the next 8-9 months, some of us are still doing things for the first time here. So, but again, couldn't be more pleased with how things have started and just the feedback that we've gotten so far, but do acknowledge, as with any year starting the year, there's some hiccups.
Okay. Thanks. Samantha. Moving on to item B, board member reports. I believe Mrs. Hickle has something she'd like to share with everybody.
Okay, so last week, Wednesday, we had a short special meeting. That way we can get anybody that needed to be added to our personnel report approved before school started for the first day. And then following that meeting, we went into an executive session with Dr. Mike, and we had Steve Horton from ISBA come, and we gathered all of the information that we needed as far as what we need as far as a profile / portfolio that they would launch for us when it comes down to our superintendent search. And we also went ahead and we set a timeline for our superintendent search. The goal was to have everything posted by Monday, August 18th, but we actually discussed, hey, you know what if we go ahead and do a light post on the 11th? Has anybody been able to check that?
It's up.
It's up? Okay, thank you. So our superintendent search is posted. It's accepting applications. We are still working on our portfolio, which has about 4 pages that brags about North Newton and how awesome we are and everything that goes along with it. But we're still working on a few key pieces of information for that, and that should be uploaded then with it. So timeline-wise, from now until September 28th, that is when the application window is going to be open. The application will close at midnight on September 28th. We will begin candidate screening on September 29th to the first week of October. And we are looking at meeting with Steve Horton again to just kind of go over all of the candidates, tell him which ones we would like to interview on October 8th. And then the first round interviews are going to be the week of October 13th. The week of October 20th, I think that's what we've decided on.
22nd, 23rd is what I had written down.
Yeah, we are going to start second round interviews, and if you've ever talked to me about stuff that goes on with school board, one of my favorite quotes is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting some sort of change. So we are changing up how we are doing our interviews. First round interviews are going to be done by the 7 of us and Dr. Razor. And then when we come back for second round interviews, the candidates that we invite back, they will be sitting in with our principals. We would like your feedback. We would like Catherine and all 3 of our elementary school principals in that interview, along with our central office staff. You will be, second round interviews are going to be kind of broken into 2 different parts. We're going to have the candidates come in, and they will be sitting with our administration and central office staff with Dr. Razor in as our consistent, and then they will move over to us, and we will do another second round interview with them, and then they will be on their way. After all the second round interviews are concluded, we are still kind of working on a little bit of a rubric that we can give all of our central office staff and principals to use. We want your input. It's very valuable to us. We want you to be able to hopefully see things that maybe we might not be able to see, especially on an educational level. Quote unquote, call out the BS, excuse my language, but that's what it is. Like if you see something that maybe we wouldn't be able to red flag, you guys would. Create a rubric that you would use and do it in a non-biased way so that we would have your feedback but not know who it's directly coming from, so that we don't make it personal. It's just professional, and take that input, and then from that second round interview, if we feel like we need to bring them back for a third, go for it, but if not, make our decision and then go along with the process as far as working out contract terms, and then hopefully posting that first week of November, and then hopefully being able to announce and vote on our new superintendent before Thanksgiving, before all the holidays hit. So that way we know.
Starting in January.
Yes, we're looking for somebody that could start January 1st. And if there are red flags, we are not hesitant as far as we're going back to the search. Yes, and that is something else. When we get to the second round interviews, those candidates, we are going to give them a leadership assessment that they will have to take, and we will also take that as feedback as far as.
Which the ISDA guy said would be the pilot for Indiana.
Yeah.
Yes, because he did it in Ohio.
Yep.
And we also talked about anyone involved in the second round interviews. Mr. Horton, and I think Dr. Mike also said this too, there would be a confidentiality paper that would need to be signed by anybody who's doing that.
Yep.
As well.
Yep. But that is our game plan for superintendent search as far as full transparency, and I hope that all of our principals will be able to sit in and give us your valuable input. Same thing with our central office staff. Yeah, that's all I've got for my board report.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Anybody else have anything they want to add? Or?
We'll have something not with the superintendent search.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Unless somebody, so there's an opportunity, I've been talking to Dr. Mike, and I know a lot of the board members already know about this, but making sure that that all the principals and the teachers know about the rollout of the Chris Lacoste Fit Park that's here in Morocco. And it has an outdoor workout facility. It has a walking path, but it also has an outdoor classroom space as well that can be used. There's no charge to it. And I want to read a little bit about the dedication of Chris for those of you who don't know her. So if I can read
absolutely.
that. So, and if you guys don't know, it's on the railroad right-of-way coming into Morocco by the railroad tracks. The Chris Lacoste Park, named in honor of a beloved Morocco community member whose life was rooted in service, connection, and a passion for the outdoors. Chris Lacoste was a lifelong resident of the Morocco area and a proud 1975 graduate of North Newton Junior Senior High School. For over 20 years, Chris dedicated her life to teaching, inspiring generations of students with kindness, curiosity, and care. Chris also led one of the early Rails to Trails efforts in Newton County, championing the vision of transforming unused rail corridors into trails for walking, biking, and exploring nature, an idea that now echoes through the Sperry Park. Her service didn't stop there. Chris was an active volunteer with the American Cancer Society, a committed participant in Relay for Life, and a passionate people-to-people ambassador, bringing people together through meaningful expression or experiences and global understanding. This park is a reflection of the values Chris lived by: a love of nature, a commitment to community, a passion for wellness, and a legacy of service and inspiration. Chris's family shares their heartfelt thanks to all who helped to bring her dream to life. There's a quote from a family member: "Our family will always love and have a special place in our hearts for Morocco. We all know Chris is looking down with tears of joy and gratitude." As you walk the path, enjoy the fitness zone, or relax in the fresh air, we hope to feel the spirit of Chris Lacoste all around, a reminder that one person's legacy can uplift an entire community. And so I have this, so the principals, if you guys want this, it shows the picture of the outdoor classroom space and things, so you guys are welcome to use that, and again, it's free of charge, and there's also some activities I think that Purdue Extension is bringing on tonight that will involve, there's also a permanent storybook walk out there for the kindergartners that they can go through that, and then there's gonna be some activities and things that go along with that. Yep, I have one, if you wanna give that to Tiffany, cause I got one for everybody.
Thanks, Diane.
Yes, thank you
Thank you.
for sharing
Oh,
this.
just take them, pass them down.
So that's the document. Go all the way down.
Okay, well, I thought she was handing like a whole pile to you over there. I was like, it's pretty sweet.
Does anybody have anything else? Nope. Okay. We have no recognition tonight, obviously, right? Moving on to item 4, non-action items. Item A, the budget workshop.
Yes, budget season is upon us, and one of the things we have to do is have a budget workshop, kind of explain how our budgeting works, and we've brought Daniel Dalton from Cinder Dalton Municipal Advisors, who is helping us as we dig out and move forward with new processes and procedures, and Daniel's going to go through our budgeting process.
Good evening, board members, Daniel Dalton from Cinder Dalton Municipal Advisors. So every single year, the state requires the district to approve a budget. Some of you may be familiar with that process. It entails building out line-by-line budget estimates for salaries, for supplies, for services and charges, and capital between our education fund, our operations fund, our debt service obligations, and also plugging in what sort of anticipated revenues we think we'll receive. So each year we'll ask for a specific property tax rate that then falls into what our property tax levy will be as a district. And through that process, then we land in January 1st with a certified tax rate from the school district. And so my purpose of being here tonight is basically verifying which dates we want to have a first reading of the budget, and then which dates we want to adopt the budget.
Because I'm on the finance committee plus county council for 14 years, so I do budgets all the time. And my question is when we're gonna do the budget workshop, which for us is not like the old ways. We want to know the details. I understand what you're like Baker Tilly or Rumball, provide the basic numbers of roundabouts, 9 million revenue, 6 million tax dollars. We want to know what we're spending our money on, line item by line item. When you say line item by line item, are you saying in the weeds, or are you just telling me I'm gonna give you, $3 million we're paying educational for teachers?
Sure.
$2 million we're gonna pay for non-certified.
In the category.
500,000 for the category.
That's your
Yeah.
question. And yes, we will have that detail. However, the state does not require that level of detail.
I know the state doesn't require it, we do.
So, yes. And so the board, as the board, you will receive higher level detail than what we will be sending to the state, because we do not have to budget individual expenses. We only have to budget by major categories. And so what we do is we will make classifications for major categories. And so I do understand your question.
Yes, because what I'm getting at is you're gonna sit there, we're paying you to go through the budget process and figure out the numbers with our department heads and our principals and things like that. And then you just give us the raw numbers. That's not what we want. We want to know what they're wanting to spend. We want to see, my budget book of the county was this thick. I literally went through line item by line item. When somebody at the highway department would come and say, I need to spend $600,000 this year for two trucks. Sheriff's department would come and say, I need to spend this. We don't want to get to the weeds of that part yet, but we definitely don't want some rubber stamp thing from you guys that says we're, 300,000, because I've got that from Umball, Baker Tilly. That's a good starting point for us, but we are then under the impression we're gonna have a workshop that literally allows us to sit with the people that are making these expenditures, so we know, right, what was being requested to be spent, and we're proving that stuff. Right.
And if I can interject, I just want to reiterate from several meetings where I've said it, this is gonna be an iterative process. Because that is not, it's the way it should be done, Michael, completely the way it should be done, is people should make requests and we should weigh those against what we've spent in the past. You know, you've heard me say it before, but instead, we had what I call Mother May I accounting going on here.
Right.
And, you know, where Dave, for example, didn't know what his budget was, just, here's what my expenses are, can we cover them?
Right.
So it's gonna be a little bit of a new process, but we're getting together that detail. And in some cases, it may be cart before the horse, where, okay, now we've got $3 million in this category. And like I said last meeting, here's what the pie looks like now. And where we give people training wheel budgets to try out for this.
So I guess what I'm saying to you, if you want to do a workshop, I would recommend we set up something prior to the first reading and then prior to so at least we can go over that stuff in a public discussion in a workshop and get more of those details. Because by statute, every municipality has to do the 10-day, first reading and the second reading.
Right.
I understand that, and you got to get done before November. What I'm saying is for us and for our administrators and people that work for us, we all want to know what we're spending, the estimates of bringing in the revenue is pretty straightforward. But the expenditure part is what's been lacking in transparency at the school, in my opinion, in a lot of schools, that doesn't have the level you have at municipalities, at towns, or at counties. So we, as a group, we want the detail. We want our employees to, like Mike's saying, because he's 100% right. We have been doing the Mother May I. Hopefully a principal would say, I'm going to see if I can put a request in for paper if I've got it or not. That's
Right.
not how I will never vote to allow a rubber stamp thing like that again. So my recommendation is if you're going to help us do this budget workshop, because I know these guys have told me in the past, they hired a company like you did all the work, and then you got a thing at the end of the year and you voted up one meeting and you pass the next. That's not what we want, just to be
And
completely
I would
clear.
love to have more consistent communication with each of you board members.
Well, he's your contact.
Well, what I would propose that we do is that we set up a finance committee meeting first. And we get in and see the available data that we have so far.
Have you collected any data yet? Collected any data yet? Meaning
We have-
expenditures, revenues. I know Mike has already been working on this because he says,
We have unreconciled balances through June 30th. Yes.
right, you're talking about cash in hand and things like that. I'm talking about expenditures for next year. Do you have those estimates already from our current principals?
Yes, I do.
Our department heads, things like that?
Well, I have estimated revenues, I have estimated expenditures, but nothing broken down per school and nothing broken down by department.
Perfect.
And what I would, and this is, again, if this sounds awkward or not the way it should work, it probably should sound that way. They don't know. And then that's no criticism of our principals, of our department heads,
Right, because we've been stuck in this frame of mind as far
Yeah,
as.
it's gonna be a learning,
Yeah,
a
it's a learning
learning
curve.
process. So that's where I was saying it's gonna almost have to be the cart before the horse on this one. Here's what we know the round numbers are. We've got the round numbers from years before, and now justify where that money went.
There is a matter of circuit breakers and legislative updates in the future, legislative adjustments, Senate Bill 1, for example. So we do know estimates from legislative implications next year. And so those are things that we do have information on that we have to provide.
So again, I think the best thing, whenever your availability, Melissa or whoever else wants to come in and sit on this, I think we should set up something so that we can have before we do our first reading, so we can go over those numbers. If you need more detail, we'll ask. We'll go that way.
And one of the things too that we are working through right now is, it's prioritization, and sometimes you have to do the thing in front of you. Daniel has been working with Lau pretty intricately, and Patty and Missy, trying to get our Form 9 filled out. And as I said, as I've shared with the board and I'll share with the community, is we switched financial systems in March. We closed out 2024 in late April, early May, something you normally do in January. And now what we're doing is we're in the process of getting those things to reconcile together. And currently they're not fitting hand in glove.
So we want to make sure we have accurate information and accurate spend. Part of that is the fact that we weren't paying bills for a while, and getting those things to come through. I know there was a question today that somebody had about you had it about the MCO bill. Well, we're paying January things in March, but then May's in May, as I was trying to go through that bill when I got the question today, it was very unorthodox because as we were digging out and finding the bills that people had sent us. So we will get there. That's what we'll do. It's you, Melissa, and who else is the finance?
Diane.
And Diane. We'll get the three of you together prior to the reading, get the information that we have together, and then can run that past how we can move forward with it.
And we'll need to move quick on this, so I'm not trying to stall anything. I wanted to at least ask questions and make sure we have a formal discussion about this.
I'm used to doing it all in 1 week and then having the auditor deal with it, right, David? For our budget hearings are painful, so coming up.
Yes. August 25th, 26th, and 27th, right?
Hopefully.
Yep.
3 days. The other thing that I'll say as far as the budget workshop is we may have to start with these round numbers and get through our process that we approved last week through September. And then from end of September to January, hammer out the line items and then see what we can, because one of the things we've done nicely, at least last year, is we typically spend under budget. So even our budget's under our budgeted amount, so we could then, start to also talk about some of those projects we've talked about that hopefully we have some leftover. And the other thing that leftover can do is offset some of these implications that we're hitting with Senate Bill 1 and other things like our utility bill going up like crazy. Like I know you guys are probably seeing it at home too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
So on the dates, statutorily, we have till what, November?
November.
And then we have 10 days between the first readings and the second.
Yes.
Is that
and
calendar
then we
days
also
or?
need 10 days to advertise the first reading.
But I thought we already voted on it.
We voted on our calendar last meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do have the calendar.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
I got it stuck on my wall in my office.
It's sometime in August. That's for the budget. So we need to get together before that.
Yeah, September was going to be our first reading.
Was it?
Yeah, 13th, I believe.
Yeah, that's usually normal though.
So we can get together before the end of this month.
Oh, I'm thinking it's August, sorry. Yes, we're good.
We have time.
We've had so many meetings, I can't even remember what's. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B.
Oh, and
first-
thank you for helping out with all the stuff with the ladies. I've heard good things about you guys, so.
First reading of board policy 2221.
Is this where you just read the changes, like you said?
Yeah. And if you want me to preface these,
Absolutely.
we were approached by Neola, or I was approached by Neola, who's an organization that Board Docs, if you're familiar with that, that we set up in, but they are a policy advisory group that districts across the country use, and they, have state by state guidance. In some cases, we're 2.5 years behind. So we're making an attempt this fall to get current with all of our policies. One of the upsides is we were so behind in some cases that some updates aren't necessary because they've already been updated. But the ones we're putting in front of the board tonight, what we're trying to do is take care of the low-hanging fruit right off the bat. And what I mean by that is these are ones that are statutorily required that the board doesn't have any say in what the wording is. It's just state law has changed or a federal program has changed and it has to be worded a certain way. So everything tonight is simply a change in statute.
And can we add truly that thank you for getting us updated through central office on this, because it's not like the board hasn't wanted to update policies for 2.5 years. They weren't brought to us in the past to
Which is
update.
always interesting, because I was talking to Mike about that. It's a company that we use, which is whatever you just said the name.
Neola.
Neola. So we already pay them.
But what they do is they check our things, and then if we make a change, they will go through it and say, oh yeah, you can do that. Like if we say we want to exclude children with red hair, they'll red flag and say, no, you can't do that.
Okay. Who wants to take the reading of the green line.
Okay, so the first one is policy 2221, mandatory curriculum. The changes that are going to be made are in item I on this, and we are changing sexually transmitted diseases. The word diseases is being switched to infections. Again, infections for the two diseases that are crossed off. We have a word and that is going to be just taken out completely. And then we've got number 4, it says age-appropriate instruction concerning the importance of consent to sexual activity between two individuals. And 5, an in-person presentation on human growth and development during pregnancy that is medically accurate and age-appropriate and includes the ultrasound video and computer-generated rendering or animation outlined in Indiana Code 20-30-5-13. However, if the course is 100% virtual, a virtual presentation that meets these requirements may be provided instead. Then we go down to item N, which is about bullying, and it says the change says see also policy 5517.01. What is being added is dash bullying. Then dash bullying is also being added to item P following that same policy reference 5517.01. Item Q, policy number 8462, the change comes in and it says child abuse and neglect. Item R, see policy 7540.03, the item that is being changed is dash student technology, acceptable use and safety. Again, item S, changed student technology, acceptable use and safety. And again, item T, the policy is being changed to student technology, acceptable use and safety. Going all the way down, we are taking out his and her and putting their with an I, there with the I. We are taking out constitutions and replacing constitutions with a capital C. Next page, which this is like, yeah, it's I didn't know if there was like a item with it. It's a big paragraph. As far as the changes, we are changing the word of to the word to, and then Indiana Code has changed from 20-5-30-17 in parentheses C and D. We are changing it to Indiana Code 20-30-5-17 in parentheses D and E. The consent form must include the following information. 1, an accurate summary of the contents and nature of the instruction on human sexuality that will be provided. 2, whether the instruction on human sexuality will be taught to male and female students in a unified setting and or in separate settings. 3, whether the instruction on human sexuality will be provided by a female or male instructor. And 4, a statement that a parent of a student or an adult or emancipated minor student has the right to review and inspect all materials related to the instruction on human sexuality. If the consent form is sent in an electronic format, the form must include a link to list of instructional materials published on the corporation's website. Scrolling down, we are changing the word of to the word for. We are also changing the Indiana Code 20-30-5-17. We're taking out B and replacing it with C. Same thing again for the Indiana Code, changing B to C, and we're replacing the word of with the word for. Scroll down even further. We have in green, the board shall publish on the corporation's website a list of all instructional materials, including teachers' manuals, curricular materials, films or other video materials, tapes, and other materials used in the instruction on human sexuality. No corporation school shall use curricular materials to provide instruction on human sexuality that have not been approved by the board under Indiana Code 20-26-12-24.
Before we move on to that, do we actually have that already posted on our website, that information? Does anybody know?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't think.
So that's a shall. in that
Or it is a shall, yeah, we'll need to get that.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes for the 2022.
No, we just the first reading.
Okay,
We're just
reading.
Yep.
I forgot, sorry.
Item C, the first reading of board policy 2410, which is the revised policy of the audio, video, and digital recording of meetings.
So the changes in green are pursuant to state law. The board shall not adopt a policy or otherwise prevent the parent of a student from recording a meeting concerning the parent or the student's individualized education program, an IEP. Parents may record an IEP team meeting or case conference. You can see policy 2461, recording of an IEP team meeting / case conferences for the procedure for such recordings. We will be taking out the chosen option should be corresponding to the option chosen in policy 2461. For option 1, it says, in order to facilitate, we are going to remove the word parents with the apostrophe after the S to the parents.
Same.
Yes.
We're actually recommending option 2.
Oh shoot,
Pick one or
sorry,
two,
I was, okay, my bad. I was just reading the green. Look at all these changes, I'm like, come on.
Like you read.
Okay, option 2, scratch what I just said about option 1. Option 2 has the X. We are changing the word, you serious? Because there's a comma after it? Oh my gosh, okay, so the recording of meetings, the word meetings is there, but we are taking out the word meetings and putting meetings with a comma afterwards. Such as a parent-teacher conference, we're taking out case conferences, i.e. IEP meetings in parentheses, taking that out. Scrolling down to, says for a parent or, we're removing the word or and just keeping it as parent. We are adding or other meeting participant. We are taking out parental rights under the idea as amended. We are taking out the word, in item A, we're taking out the word audio for audio recording. We are taking out she, he, and replacing it with they. We are going to add a comma after the blank space. We're going to add a comma after principal. We are going to, again, take out his, her, replace it with their. We're going to take out the word audio. We're going to add the word principal, remove the blank line that's in there. And then again, if she or he intends, we are going to replace that with whether they intend. For item B, we are going to, again, take out she, he, replace it with they. We're going to take out the word audio. We're going to take out the word or, which is before the word authorized representative of the parent. And then we're also taking out the word audio, again, replacing she, he to they, his, her to their. And then the other optional part of it is that we are going to, it says video recording of meetings. Again, we're taking out the word meetings and we're adding meetings with a comma. We're going to take out case conferences. We're going to add, unless a video recording has been requested due to a hearing impairment of a parent, authorized representative, or a parent of another other meeting participant. That's the end of that option. The next paragraph, we are changing the word competition to competitions. And we are changing the word graduation to graduation ceremonies. Next paragraph, we are adding the word school in front of corporation. And we are adding or video after audio. We are also adding or otherwise digitally recorded records meetings. And we are taking out just the word meetings. And we are also taking out case conferences, i.e., IEP meetings. we are updating the Indiana Code, which is Indiana Code 20-26-5-4, Indiana Code 20-26-5-45, and then we are also adding Board Policy 5136, which is the personal communication devices, and our Board Policy 9160, public attendance at school events, to be referenced. And we're changing the year to 2025.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So, Mike, you were talking about these are options, and they're different. As I read these, it looks like option 1 is very in favor of a parent saying, in order to facilitate the parent's ability to fully participate in the education process, parents are ordinarily permitted. Sounds like they can record IPEs, parent-teacher conferences, whatever. The second one says it's prohibited. And then the third one, are these like less and less where you're telling the parents they can't record these meetings that they have with the teachers or whatever? Because it looks like you're giving us 1, 2, 3 options. Say 3 personally.
There's 2 options, then there's
So these 2 options are for one category?
Yeah, and then there's an optional that you could add.
Okay. And you said you were, because for me, if a parent wants to record something with your child in a meeting, IPEs or whatever, they should be able to do that, in my opinion. And the second option, it says it's prohibited. So that means, to me, they're not allowed to do that. So I'm assuming that we're gonna have to decide as a board which one we want, and then these are the options that they're gonna change the legal language, right?
Yeah, and I can come back with an explanation more for Neola on that, as well.
Okay. So right now, we're just reading,
Just a
these are
reading, yeah.
options that we will vote on. Option 1,
Yeah.
option 2, and then option 1 or option 2. Okay. So we know that, so we're not just rubber stamping it. This is, good stuff. All right, thank you.
Item D, first reading of Board Policy 2414, which is the revised policy for the reproductive health and family planning and human sexuality instruction.
Okay.
It's fine.
No, so changes that are being made, it's school, we're taking out the word corporation and putting board. Believes that the provision should be made for teaching of the reproductive health, family planning, human sexuality, and recognition, prevention of the treatment of, we're taking out sexually transmitted diseases and adding sexually transmitted infections as essential ingredients to the comprehensive school health education curriculum in grades 4 through 12. Instruction on human sexuality shall be provided only to students in grades 4 through 12. However, a school, we're adding that word, corporation employee is prohibited from responding to a question from a student in pre-kindergarten through grade 3 regarding human sexuality. As required by state, we are going to take out the curriculum also shall include the teaching of abstinence, and we're going to replace it with teachers who provide instruction on human sexuality or sexual transmitted infections shall, option A, teach abstinence from sexual activity outside of marriage as the expected standard for all school-age children. B, include in the instruction that abstinence from sexual activity is the only way or only certain way to avoid out-of-wedlock pregnancy, sexually transmitted infections, and other associated health problems. C, include the instruction that the best way to avoid sexually transmitted infections and other associated health problems is to establish a mutually faithful monogamous relationship in the context of marriage. D, include age-appropriate instruction concerning the importance of consent to sexual activity between 2 individuals. And E, include the instruction and in-person presentation on human growth and development during pregnancy that is medically accurate and age-appropriate and includes a high-definition ultrasound video at least 3 minutes in duration showing the development of the brain, heart, sex organs, and other vital organs in early fetal development, and a high-quality computer-generated rendering or animation showing the process of fertilization and each stage of fetal development inside the uterus, noting significant markers in cell growth and organ development for every week of pregnancy from fertilization to birth.
However, if the course is 100% virtual, a virtual presentation that meets these requirements may be provided instead. Moving on, the corporation shall make available for inspection by the parent of a student and any instructional materials, including teacher's manuals, curricular materials, films or other videos, materials, tapes, and other materials used in connection with instruction on human sexuality. We are going to add, and shall post a list of the instructional materials used on the corporation's website. Before providing instruction on human sexuality, the corporation shall comply with state law requirements to provide a written request of consent. We're taking the word out, and we're adding the word to, instruction to a parent of a student or the student if the student is an adult or emancipated minor. We are going to add a consent form provided to a parent of a student or a student shall include the following information. Item A, an accurate summary of the contents and nature of the instruction on human sexuality that will be provided to the student. B, whether the instruction on human sexuality will be taught to male and female students in unified setting or in separate settings. C, whether the instruction on human sexuality will be provided by a female and or male instruction. I added words. D, a statement that a parent of a student or an adult or emancipated student has the right to review and inspect all materials related to the instruction on human sexuality. The written consent form may be sent in an electronic form. If the written consent form is sent in an electronic format, the form must include a link to the list of the instructional materials published on the corporation's website. The board shall approve all curricular materials used in the instruction of human sexuality pursuant to Indiana Code 20-30-5-13 in parentheses C. We're going to remove C, also policy 2221, mandatory curriculum. We're going to add Indiana Code 20-34-3-17, and then the cross references is board policy 2221, mandatory curriculum, and 2416, student privacy and parental access to information. Neola, dated 2025.
Item E, first reading of board policy 2416, student privacy and parental access to information.
Okay. This one has a few changes. We're going to add the written consent form for a personal analysis and evaluation or survey described above shall accurately reflect the contents and nature of the personal analysis, evaluation, or survey. The board directs the superintendent to develop a procedure for distribution of the written consent form. Next page, we're going to take the word may out and switch it with the word shall. We're going to add in the next paragraph, when it comes to has the right to inspect instructional materials used in connection with is going to be added. And again, used in connection with is also added twice in that paragraph. The term instructional material is going to be switched out to instructional materials. It says C, also policy 2221 for mandatory curriculum. We added a period after mandatory curriculum. Board policy 8330 is being changed to student records as its title. The option 1, we're going to replace the board will not allow to the board prohibits. Next paragraph, the superintendent is directed to provide notice directly. We're taking out the word directly. Do I still need to read option 2, or we're not doing that one because it doesn't have an X next to it?
You've not done it, no.
Okay. For the last paragraph, we're switching out lives with the comma and just adding the word lives, or lives. That's why you read the first couple words beforehand. That's why you know the context. And then Neola again, 2025.
Item F, first reading of board policy 2461, which is the recording of IEP team meetings / case conferences.
Okay, bear with me, this one's got a lot. We are adding pursuant to state law, the school board shall not adopt a policy or otherwise prevent the parent of a student from recording a meeting concerning the student's individualized education program, in parentheses IEP. We're taking out select option 1 or 2, taking out the option 1. We don't have an X next to that, so I don't have to read that one, right? I don't have to read option 2 either, right? Because we don't have an X next to
That's the confusing part for me, because
Yeah.
what I'm reading is it's telling me,
No, if it's in the, those don't exist anymore. Those
You mean red?
options. Yeah,
The red doesn't exist.
Option 1 is the only option.
yeah, option 1 is now the option.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So for option 1, in order to facilitate parents, we're switching parents to the parent's ability. Taking out ordinarily. We're taking out the word audio. For option A, we're taking out the word audio. And we are adding, let's see, utilize their own recording device and tapes or discs. And we're adding are requested to provide the notice to the school corporation, and we're going to add that they will record the meeting. And then for option B, we're adding the word the in front of parents. So if the parent elects to, and then we've crossed out the word audio, record.
I think it's important that you read in A, it says provide notice to the school corporation that they will record the meeting prior to the date of the scheduled IEP meeting or case conference, so that they can have it in its whole context.
Okay. You said that was item A?
Yeah.
Okay. Parents wishing to record, taking out the word audio, record an IEP meeting or case conference shall utilize their own recording device and tapes or discs and are requested to provide notice to the school corporation that they will record the meeting prior to the date of the scheduled IEP meeting or case conference. And if the parent elects to record an IEP team meeting or case conference, the corporation also shall record the meeting or case conference. And on the back side, we've got, for purposes of this policy, a recording is defined as the capture of a person's or a group of persons' voices and or images is being added. We're taking out individual voice. And then again, this is kind of, it's repetitive of what we had read before as far as taking out the word competition, replacing it with competitions, and taking out the word, well, there is no, it's just adding ceremonies in front of or behind graduation. If the corporation audio or video is being, the words or video being added, records, and then we're going to add or otherwise digitally records an IEP meeting or case conference, the resulting recording shall become a part of the student's educational record and shall be maintained in accordance with state and federal law. Indiana Code 20-26-5-45 cross-references our board policies 5136 personal communication devices, policy 9160 public attendance at school events. Switching the year to 2025. How many more of these we got?
Item
These are
G,
easy.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more.
first reading of board policy 5111, determination of legal settlement and eligibility for enrollment of students without legal settlement in the corporation, proof of Indiana residency.
no changes until you get to the back. Well, actually, the first page will,
Yeah, the only change is being,
removing things.
So you're putting in superintendent and taking out name of school official, i.e. principal, superintendent, etc. So superintendent. And then on,
we're choosing option 1, because there's an X there in the green.
I'm assuming when you just says we're choosing out, this is what Mike, they currently already have voted on. Okay. Because I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Because these are statutes or stuff that came out in the past like we just got for that cell phone one.
Mhm.
Here's your options that you can
Mhm.
do.
And some of these don't have options.
Some of them don't have options.
Yeah.
I get it.
The only other thing is, it says it's striking, no transfer student should be accepted for enrollment for athletic reasons.
Okay, I got it. So in the past, this school board has selected option one of subparagraph G. Okay, I got it. I may not agree with it, but I got it. Yeah.
Everybody got all those? That one?
Yeah. Well, it says that the one is September 1st is when we have to establish the number of transfer students that can be accepted in each building.
Yeah.
There's been no date. We've just always done it, I think, by our first August meeting.
Yeah.
Because we did it a while ago.
Yeah, I had to put that this past week.
And that's just like what our capacity is, because we talked about that at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Item H, first reading of board policy 5223, released time for religious instruction. We're adding, upon the signed written request of student's parent, the board will allow exceptions to the student's continuous attendance at school for religious instruction outside the school building for no more than 120 minutes per week. If an elementary school student, and for not more than the amount of the time that is equivalent to attending one elective course at the public secondary school during the week, if a secondary school student. We are taking principal and making it capitalized, doing the same thing in the third paragraph, taking he and making it the principal. I assume that must be she or he.
Yeah.
And then we're adding the entity that provides religious instruction to a corporation student under this section agrees to do the following. 1, conduct an expanded criminal history check and expanded child protection index check regarding each employee or contractor of the entity who is likely to have direct, ongoing contact with the corporation students who are children within the scope of the individual's employment or contract services. Number 2, hold liability insurance coverage for services or transportation provided outside school property as defined in Indiana Code 2033-85. B, the following criteria apply. It's not highlighted. Do I need to read it? Okay. A, B, C, and D. And last, number 3, we're taking out the if a student is not able to attend religious instruction at a time other than during student instructional time, the student may not be released to attend religious instruction we're taking out 120 minutes per week to amount of time previously stated in this policy. And we're updating that from 2019 to 2025. Item I, student discipline policy.
That's H. 5600, right, is H.
No, 5600 is I.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're good.
So I'm on I, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Policy 5600, which is student discipline.
All the X's that are highlighted are actually currently our policy right now.
The only change is the back page.
Yep, the only change is the last line that says no student shall be suspended or expelled solely because the student is chronically absent or habitual truant as defined in policy 5200-attendance. Cross-reference is policy 5200 attendance, change the year from 2019 to 2025.
Item J, first reading of board policy 5605, suspension and expulsion of students with disabilities. It's like we are adding no student shall be suspended or expelled solely because the student is chronically absent or habitual truant as defined in policy 5200, attendance, Indiana Code 2033-816-5, cross-reference policy 5200, attendance. That is being updated from a 2014 to a 2025. Item K, first reading of policy 5611. Technical correction, due process rights. So they are adding school in front of corporations, disciplinary procedures, Indiana Code 2033-818, updating that policy from 2009 to 2025.
That'll clear that up.
Yes. First reading of board policy 5771, search and seizure. The school board recognizes its obligation to balance the privacy rights of its students with, instead of its, the school corporation's responsibility to provide, instead of students, faculty, and authorized visitors with a safe, hygienic, and alcohol-free learning environment. Next paragraph, school property. School facilities such as lockers, desks, and school property are provided for student use subject to the right of the superintendent, and we are taking out and his/her designee to enter the facility as needed and inspect all items in the facility searched. Next sentence, students shall not have an expectation of privacy in any facility provided by the school and shall not be permitted to deny entry to a corporation, taking out school in front of that, administrator by the use of lock or other device. Moving down to section B, student, person, and possessions. We are permission for a student to bring a vehicle on school property shall be conditioned upon consent. We're taking out of and making for the search of the vehicle and all containers inside. We're adding in this sentence, if a corporation student has died, transferred, dropped out, or otherwise withdrawn from enrollment in the corporation shall not remove the student's property without providing the parents the opportunity to collect the property. The term student property refers to the property belonging to a student that the student has stored in a locker, desk, or personal cubby that is located on school property and has been assigned to the student for the student's use, provided, however, that this requirement does not restrict or otherwise limit the authority of a law enforcement agency to search an area containing student property or seize the student property pursuant to a law enforcement investigation. Moving in down to metal detectors, we're taking out his and her, making it there. Item E, use of dogs. Anything found in the course of a search pursuant to this policy, instead of saying which, we're going to put that, constitutes evidence of a violation of a law or school rule, or instead of which, that endangers the safety or health of any person shall be seized and utilized as evidence if appropriate. Next column, the superintendent, we're adding or principal as appropriate, shall promptly record in writing the following information for each search conducted pursuant to this policy. Item B, we're adding the date, striking out, or doing the date, time, striking out date, location, taking out students with a comma and making it students. Item C, a description of, instead of any, each item seized and its deposition. Item D, we're adding the date and time instead of and date of notice. In the case of A, instead of the search of the student's person instead of a student. Indiana Code 2033-75, striking that from 2023 to 2025.
Oh, that was fun.
Wonderful. Now we can move to the consent agenda. I gotta read it first. Consent agenda. Item A, the executive session board meeting minutes of July 16th, 2025. Item B, the regular board meeting minutes of July 16th, 2025. the executive session board meeting minutes of July 30th, 2025. Item D, the special board meeting minutes of July 30th, 2025. Item E, the work study session minutes of July 30th, 2025. Item F, special board meeting minutes of August 6th, 2025. Item G, executive session board meeting minutes of August 6th, 2025. Item H, donations. Item I, facility use request. Item J, field trip request. Item K, ECA purchase request. Item L, financial claims and reports. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Thank you, Diane and Michael. Do we have any discussion on items A through L?
I'd like to use the donations.
Okay.
For donations, we've got the Coalition for a Drug-Free NC. Donate is the guidance-mental health. The donation towards Catch My Breath program renewal, and it was a check for $99. And then, I'm gonna go for the Ohio pile.
Yeah.
Prince Athletics, percentage donation of school logo merch sales. It's a check and it's $52.50 for a total of $151.50.
Okay.
Thank you. On the vouchers and claims, what is Mouse Storm Advisory for $22,182.71?
That is my.
Oh, sorry. I know what that is. Total for the month was $84,798.56 is what we paid out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the payroll vouchers you submitted was 200 and, is that for non-certifieds and certified? Everybody. So that's our normal monthly back to school, roughly. Close. Okay. Thank you. Then we have some field trips, right? Football purchases, basketball purchases, volleyball, mesh things.
When it comes down to field trips, I see we've got the one from Lincoln for 5th grade going down to the Harvest Moon Festival. Have we received any of the other schools yet?
We have not.
Okay. Usually they all go together. At least I know Lake Village went.
And then we're not at personnel report yet.
No, that's next.
Okay. Okay. That's my discussion. We're good.
Anybody else have anything else? Nope. Okay. We got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 6, which is the personnel report. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report?
Motion approved.
Melissa, Diane, thank you both. Is there any discussion on that? Dr. Razor, would you like to share anything?
Nothing, just some extracurricular positions that we're continuing to fill for this school year, as well as the hiring of a special education aide. Pretty light.
Is that at Lincoln? It just says special education aid. Does it
Is
say
that an elementary or a high school or?
what?
The bus.
The bus aid.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, bus aid.
okay.
That's the second page, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes,
That's the
I'm
one,
sorry.
is that the one we were talking about, the bus aid for?
Yes.
Okay.
On these, Mike, are these, when we were talking about the last meeting, because we had some of these, whatever these are getting filled for stipend or something in
Yeah.
collective bargaining, do we know if we're actually still doing these? And have you found out, obviously, probably not, but that we're still like, what was it?
What esports is what I'm
Robot
looking into.
one or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, these are things that we are still doing.
I just want to
And,
make sure.
yeah, the special education aid is to meet the IEP of a student who needs an aid when being transported.
Perfect.
Did we hire somebody after the Lake Village library position?
We did. Internal transfer.
Okay, so that doesn't have to be on.
It was.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'll make sure that it is.
She's in ESS, so that's really.
Oh, I thought they becoming an employee.
Nope, my understanding is that.
I'll look into that
Yeah.
then.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not the information I have.
No, it's okay. Okay, well, the homework, on top of all the other homework.
No, I thought I had that homework checked off. So.
Okay.
Hmm? No. No more discussion? All right, we have a motion second to approve the personnel report. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. All right, moving on to action items. Item A, zero out IT.
And what this is we've discussed this before. When we're transitioning away from the Chromebooks, we had bills for repairs for lost damage items that now we don't need to repair. We don't need lost damage items. And we found not very good record keeping kept as well. I know some folks have shown me canceled checks and then they still have bills that reflect the same amount. So it's my recommendation that we just make a clean break now that we've switched to different devices that are easily trackable and much more durable. That's the only update I would give too, is first time since we've had take-home devices, we've been in school a week and not one damaged or broken device.
You're gonna have a busy day tomorrow.
So are you zeroing out balances?
The
for
zeroing out
repairs?
balances of past due balances for devices we're not going to replace.
So I'm gonna make this clear so everybody can hear it. So if you have a balance, if you just got a bill within the last 6 months and it says you owe North Newton $400
And you can't graduate,
for a broken
supposedly.
computer,
Chromebook,
do
yeah.
not have to pay for that anymore, and your child will graduate
Yeah.
according to whatever rumors was out there for years.
Yeah, and we can't stop a kid from graduating if they owe money regardless.
If we pass this.
Well, yeah.
So this will be helpful to several families within our corporation.
But it's just all
Yeah.
the old, nothing that
Yeah,
starts
this draws a line in the
school year
sand
with
to
the new
25,
books.
26, and we're going to keep very meticulous
I was gonna
records.
say, there's gonna be better record keeping moving forward.
Yes.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve the zero out of IT for, and I would like in that motion that Mike, I think we talked about this previously before, at some point, give us an account of what we wrote off, how much.
Yeah.
So that's all. That'd be my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the zero out IT along with a request for the superintendent to let us know
the write-off amount.
The only caveat I'll say is that amount that we're writing off is probably less than the amount I'm going to tell you because people who pay bills still get bills.
All right, got our discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Perfect, thank you. Item B, disposal of old H&H reading materials. Do I have
No,
a
we gotta do-
motion and a
You gotta
second?
do B.
Huh?
You got two disposals.
Sorry. Item B, disposal of obsolete book request from the North Newton Junior Senior High School. Thank you, Samantha, I apologize.
Nope, we're good.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve the disposal of obsolete book requests from North Newton Junior Senior High School? I will move to approve that.
I'll second it.
Thank you, thank you.
You guys are the book burners, right?
Now, is there any discussion on the disposal of the obsolete book requests from the North Newton Junior Senior High School? Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Like source.
Now
You know,
moving on
actually, I
to,
might. There's some of these books on here.
Yeah,
I'm like, I
There's some
would.
good books in there.
Yeah, like I like the Shakespeare ones. I took Shakespeare in high school. I loved the Shakespeare class.
moving on to item C, disposal of old H&H reading materials. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the disposal of the old H&H reading materials? I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the disposal of old HMH reading materials?
What is HMH? Just reminding me.
Puffton, Milton.
The
It's
old
old textbooks.
The old textbook.
Why didn't it fall underneath the other?
Different.
Because these, so,
Yeah.
these are textbooks, the other ones are actual like.
Library.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
So No discussion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Item D, Midwest Contract Operations Incorporated contract. Not in here. Uh-oh. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the Midwest contract?
This is for the NCO.
NCO.
We're gonna look into that stuff, but I will make the motion to approve the NCO contract for the 2025 school year or 2025.
Yeah, annual.
This is from January of 2025 till.
Till December, yeah,
Yeah.
January through December.
Perfect.
It just was never brought to us before now.
I will second that. Do you want to explain that at all, just a little bit for everybody?
This is for our three schools that are not on city water, for lack of a better term. And it's the testing and making sure things are good. And as Diane said, this was a contract that should have came before you probably in December of 2023. That did not. And the one thing I will say is it's not a flat rate contract. It's as they are needed. Typically, it's about a little over $5,000 a month for what they do. But again, it's monthly as they do the work. But right now, very necessary.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Midwest Contract Operations contract. Is there any other discussion on the matter? Oh, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Item E, the Purdue Extension Free Educational Programs. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the Purdue University Free Educational Programs?
Motion to approve.
I will second it.
Oh, go ahead, take it.
I'll take it. Okay. Diane, you actually have more of a background on this. Do you just want to just give like a quick overview of?
But just because I work with Purdue Extension, I'm not part of Purdue Extension, but they do, they offer educational programs in the schools. It doesn't cost any money. So the Purdue Extension educators, whether it's HHS or actually the 4-H educator, come in, they're going to do 4-H recruitment in the buildings. They're going to do a scientist in training spring program by Mercedes at Lincoln Elementary. Then there's a story walk promotion in the fall at the Crystal Cost Park, an apple crunch in the fall. That's a new program. And then Captain Cash has been going on for several years in the 3rd grade here at Morocco. And then they do Clover Education, Civic Engagement, STEM, and Healthy Living in the fall and spring, and then Farm to Classroom in the fall and spring for the 5th graders.
Okay.
For me, I would like to recognize the community organizations that provide the funding that makes this free. You have Step Ahead, which provides grants. We have our township trustees and the Coalition of Drug-Free Newton County, Jasper County Community Foundation. They are the ones that help support this. Also, if I remember correctly, David, is the county still providing the free 4-H registration for all kids that want to sign up? County Council approved that years ago, so I want to recognize those organizations for providing the funding for that free service.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve the Purdue Extensive Free Educational Programs. We've had discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Moving on to item F. Update authorized signers of the Morocco Elementary DeMont State Bank ECA bank accounts to remove Michelle Christensen and add Valerie Cahill, Marisa Blake, Melissa Beers, and Patricia Wright as authorized signers effective immediately.
May I address F through J, and then you can have discussion and vote on each of them separately. This is housekeeping that is pretty typical at the beginning of a school year if you have new administrators. But as you can see from some of the names that I don't have any idea who even some of these folks are, that's some housekeeping that hadn't been done in a while. So these are all very typical that you have a principal and a treasurer as signatories, as well as then central office backup if anybody were to leave for those accounts. And then Jennifer Holder needs to be bonded because when we went to single secretary treasurer at both Morocco and Morocco and Lincoln, Valerie Cahill was the treasurer set at Lincoln. So Jen's going to become the treasurer and will get bonded for that.
Okay. So my first question, and maybe we can motion on all of them, but on F, why is Marissa in there when the other principals?
They all are.
They all are,
Do they get
yeah.
added?
Yes,
all got added.
we'll go through them and
Good.
you'll see it.
And then
Yeah.
the second part, my question is, for Patty and Missy, I thought this was already done. That they already had access to all of our bank accounts.
It was on the DeMont bank accounts and some of the others, but these are the ECA bank accounts.
Which one we missed?
The
No,
extracurricular.
it's the extracurriculars that we just voted on, so.
Correct, yeah, when we rushed around, remember, and she had to drive around and get everybody's signature so those two
Yeah.
could sign things. We didn't do you all for these.
No.
So how you been doing the books on these?
They're the backup for those.
Yeah.
The treasurers do the books for those.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to, if you want to just do F, G, and H, get them all done, one, fell swoop, and I, right?
So tell me what your motion is.
My motion is to approve F as presented, G as presented, H as presented, I as presented, J as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael and Samantha. We have a motion and a second to approve item F, which I've already read. Item G, which is update authorized signers on the Lincoln Elementary, Kentland Bank, ECA bank accounts to remove Val Cahill, Kurt Baroni, June Miller, and Tony Blasek to add Jennifer Holder, Melissa Beers, Tricia Wright, and Sarah Funston as authorized signers effective immediately. Item H, update authorized signers of the Lake Village, Kentland Bank accounts to remove Mary Sheldon, Karen Zakvia, and Stacy Schwoko, and to add John Klein, Melissa Beers, Patricia Wright as authorized signers effective immediately. Item I, update authorized signers on the North Newton High School Kentland Bank ECA bank accounts to add Melissa Beers and Patricia Wright as authorized signers effective immediately. And item J, Jennifer Holder to be bonded as required for her position at Lincoln Elementary School. Those are the motions. We've had discussion. All those in favor to approve items F through J, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Item K, North Newton High School 2025-2026 course description handbook revision. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the
Well, can I add something to that came up during after school? It was realized that one of the rotation courses wasn't in there. I passed this around to you guys.
So you just.
You're already up here, you might as well.
No, this is that, but she's adding something else that she realized wasn't in the handbook. And she's gonna ask if you guys could add it on
The teacher went to purchase, material for the courses, and you guys mentioned that it wasn't in there, so I just
You can give me one, that's fine. There you go. Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, so that one's for the 7th grade rotation, exploring healthcare, or health science, it leads into the nursing and just kind of what all that would look like. Starting to introduce the students in the middle school so they know in high school if they want to take the principal classes and if they want that to be their pathway. We have like an exploring computer science, exploring ag. It's just, that one was overlooked on it.
So this is to add this into our handbook to allow this course to be offered.
Yes.
Which is again, back to what I said, we're voting on this after the parents have already signed up for classes.
Yeah, it was an oversight, thought it was in there.
I'm just saying general,
Yeah.
everything.
And
Which is
then-
not your fault or yours, it's just.
And then she'll speak to you about the biology class that we had something fall through and we're.
Yeah, so that one is originally what this was on there for. So our high school science teacher had resigned week or two before school had started, and she was teaching the Science 103 and Science 105, which is a dual credit through PNW. You have to have certain credentials in order to teach those courses. We reached out to PNW to see if they would have a professor come teach that course, and they did not have anyone that was able to do it. And so kind of our last effort with it to try to keep something is offering an AP biology online for them. And we're hoping to have it where they could have it weighted. The senior group is a strong academic group. They had the highest SATs last year that we've had in a while. They're just competitive with academics and just all around good group with it. And so we don't have this, and I don't have anything to offer them for that class. This is just trying to think outside of the box on what we can do.
Do we, obviously the board decides what curriculum they're gonna offer to everybody. How do we even come up with this stuff? Where do we pull this from?
So the state outlines classes that you can.
Everything, or like they give you a big book of?
They give you the mandatories and then the options, like the one you just.
Who goes through and picks what our school corporation is going?
Superintendent and it's mainly junior, senior high, but superintendent then and junior, senior high principal make recommendations like this.
Okay.
And basically what we're doing here is we had someone leave, PNW did.
It was teaching a higher level class.
Yeah, and we can offer this higher level class as a substitute.
Online.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a big picture, because obviously for me, and I think some of the other boards, moving towards the
CTE.
Yes. You know, offering the trades programs.
Yeah.
Things like that is more of a focus. I think our community as a whole is wanting to push to. So I know you said you can't get it done before you left, but that's just something we like to focus on. And this, I think, controls that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But this also helps offset some of the kids who don't want to do that, and,
Right.
and because
Gotta have
you
both.
couldn't find a licensed teacher, so this was what.
No, I
You can have a licensed teacher,
do that.
but when not
For
somebody
the
who
dual
can teach.
credit to do that.
Yeah, who can
That-
do the
let
dual
me
credit,
clarify
yeah.
that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So our motion would be to add these.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the AP Biology Addendum 2025-2026 only, and also add to that 0497.68, which is Exploring Health Sciences, grade 6-8.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Item 8, public comment.
We already approved the handbook. I don't think we did that, did we? The full handbook.
No, we're still,
No, we're still
working
working
on it.
But I thought it was an action item. Or that, what she came with just.
Yeah.
That was a student handbook.
Because you printed off 70 pages and I'm like, holy, I gotta go read this in an hour and a half.
Okay. Hello?
Good evening. I am here to let you know that the manifesting that we have created since January is making gains in our special education department at the high school. I'm very pleased to have resource room again. We have each a paraprofessional that is working side by side with Sandra and I. It is glorious, truly glorious to know that we are able to service the children correctly. And all of the provisions as of today, it's early, but all of the provisions have been met, especially for mine. Sandra didn't end up making it, but all of the provisions are being met, and it's just very, very heartening. And I appreciate all of the work that was created throughout these last months in finding Dr. Razor and then all of the principals working together. The one thing I do not want to forget, and that is why I'm going to continue to come here, is this NTSS, because it is very important. Today I had 33 children on my roster, and tomorrow I have 34. So the numbers are still huge for the 3 certified teachers that you entrust with these children at the high school. We all three have large numbers. And so I want to still encourage this MTSS because without it, we are not going to identify these children when they are young correctly and get them the help that they need to not have these numbers continue. Again, you have three ladies that are not gonna be teaching in 10 years. We're doing it now and we're doing the very best we can. But I want this to also go on because I'm very proud to be a Spartan and I'm very proud of this community. And I want to continue to encourage these principals. They talk a lot about MTSS and that they have plans. But this is now my 4th year and I don't know exactly all of the actions that are happening. And so I don't want that to go to the wayside because our provisions are being met in just little chunks. It all has to fit together. Mrs. Hanks said and Dr. Razor himself said, team is our theme and we all have to work together. So again, Sandra and I would like to come. If any elementary needs any sort of individualized, differentiated help, getting groups, we've both done that in the past in the elementaries in this corporation. So I want to say thank you, and I want to say I want to continue to do better than what we've done in the past 3 years. Have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Clements?
The reason I asked to speak tonight, I've already talked to Dr. Reeves about this, and I didn't know what's going on, but for the public, I want them to be aware that there's a touch-up truck gonna happen on October 4th at Lake Village Library. Every year, and I can't exactly tell you how many years it's been going on, but they've invited us to bring a school bus up there so that the children and the parents can see the operations and stuff with the school bus. And, I want to make sure the public was well aware of what's going to happen. There will be a bus up there, and I plan on having the camera systems hooked up for their vid, just where they can view what's going on inside the buses. Live view only.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have nobody else signed up. I have a motion in a second, or do we have anything else that anybody would like to add before we leave? Adjourn.
Just that we're gonna put the administrative handbook back on non-action items starting at the next meeting to keep updating that
Yeah.
as we go along in sections, correct?
And as we hit policies as well.
Okay.
So. We should also have the elementary school handbook for
Yeah.
we actually could have brought it forward tonight, but I thought it was too late.
What was
So-
the principal from?
Okay.
We were gonna do 2 and 2.
Okay.
But we had an offset tonight. So what the plan is we're gonna do 2 school updates each meeting as long as we're on a 2-week rotation, yeah.
And then in the past, we've requested like the handbooks to be on non-action the first meeting and actions. That way we have time to look at everything,
Yeah,
troubleshoot any questions or whatever.
yeah,
before we
absolutely,
actually
can do that.
Cause
Oh,
there'll
my
be some
newbie
things
question
in there
now.
that need to be updated. That's all I know.
Are there any plans that that we're all here together of maybe getting some of the art classes or whatever to do paintings, pictures, doing this, putting that, whiteboard back up there because we wanted that?
Yeah, the whiteboard is on
The list?
Yeah, it's on the list. We gave schools attention the past couple weeks.
Correct.
But yeah, we can work on getting art and other things on the wall.
Something in there.
Something for each of the schools.
We're loud enough?
You got a nice acoustic. And it's cooler in here.
Oh, quite a bit cooler.
It's cooler. That's why she's wearing a sweater over there.
I'm trying to get it off.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Sweater.
Second.
All right, motion second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor? And Ray, motion carries.
Patty, this is the list of
Meeting